Improvisation in competition, an overlooked superpower? Dear dancers, a few weeks ago, I attended a competition weekend as a spectator where mainly senior S-class standard events were danced. Although I really enjoyed the dancing, a few things stood out to me in a negative way. These were, first, the sometimes exaggerated facial expressions. Second, the truly frequent collisions, especially but not only in the early rounds. And third, the occasionally tilted frame. A tilted frame can, but does not necessarily have to, indicate insufficient stamina. That's why I'm planning a mini-series on these often neglected but important topics. If applied consistently, they would very likely have moved a first or second round couple at its competition 1 or perhaps even 2 rounds forward, assuming all other factors had remained the same. I consider myself a rather lazy person by nature, which is why I try to work as effectively and efficiently as possible, guided by the principle, what is the minimum effective dose for X amount of success? That's why I'm a big fan of the 80-20 rule. It states that the most effective 20% of an activity produce 80% of the desired results. Conversely, the remaining 80% of the activity produce only 20% of the results. In my view, you should figure out what those most effective 20% are and either do them first to be safe or use the 80% of time freed up by dropping the ineffective 80% to focus 100% of your time on the best 20% of actions. So, in theory, you get 5 times 80% of the results. Of course, this is simplified, but the general direction should hold. Today, in part 1, we'll focus on preventing collisions using the tool of improvisation. Does improvisation even exist? And if so, what is it? Fred Astaire once said in essence that there is no real improvisation on stage. Only things practiced so often that they can be combined freely. I like that because it means improvisation can be built systematically. It requires both mental and physical flexibility. Mental flexibility because your brain has to make fast decisions, ideally on a limbic level, and the dancer, mainly the leader, must be able to drop the original plan within a split second. The urge to force that especially beautiful, expensive, perfectly trained favorite side and instead choose an alternative that fits the situation better. Many leaders struggle with this because they often have no alternative ready and or because they believe judges will only recognize their true ability if they manage to present that one magic side perfectly. Spoiler, they usually don't because they collide with another couple before they get there. In my opinion, judges would reward calm, confident avoidance in a critical moment far more. Now, let's move to the physical flexibility, meaning the actual improvisation and how to build it in the most time-efficient way. Here is the ultimate step-by-step guide for your first improvisation, which, according to the 80-20 rule, should eliminate 80% of collisions. First, identify the spots where collisions happen most often. Also ask yourselves whether the collisions usually come from the same side or from different sides. In the second case, you'll need multiple alternatives for the same spot. It might even be the figure or side itself, and the best option could be to replace it entirely. Second, take the first spot and come up with one single alternative that would have prevented the collision. That is your plan B. Bonus tip. Ideally, plan B also works for other spots. If it does, you'll save a lot of time by using it everywhere it fits. Third, practice plan B coordination-wise until it reaches an acceptable quality. Fourth, practice plan B including a clean entry and exit back into your original routine, again, until the quality is good enough. Fifth, dance the whole side several times. The leader chooses plan A or plan B spontaneously. The follower follows. Sixth, dance the whole dance several times. From this point on, the leader can and should switch spontaneously and regularly between plan A and plan B. 7. Repeat the same process for the other collision spots until you've covered all dances. If needed, create a plan C and so on, using the same method. Voila! And congratulations on your first improvisation. If you try this method, I'd be genuinely curious to hear about your experience in the comments. Warm regards, Roman Levitas.